Our prefix for today is pre, which means before. Now, pre is a really important prefix to learn because it comes up in lots of words that you probably already know, like prefix or prepare, for example. If you can think of other pre-words that you know already, then pop them in the comments for me. And for now, we are going to move on to our 5 words in 5 minutes. Today, we are covering presume, presumptuous, precede, prequel, and preposterous. So they all have something to do with before. Now, to figure out the meaning of our first word here, we are going to look at an example sentence. So you could say, I presumed that my best friend and I would sit together on the school bus. So you presume before something happens. Now, what could the word presume mean? You may have spotted it's similar to assume, and they do have similar meanings. Let's look at the definition. So the definition for presume is to think or assume something to be true without being sure. So in our example sentence, you think that it's true that you're going to sit next to your best friend, but you can't be certain because it hasn't happened yet. If you're wondering what the difference is between assuming and presuming, when you assume, you don't have any evidence. So you're kind of just making up what you think will happen. When you presume, you have some past evidence to go off that helps you to try to predict what's going to happen in future. So that is presuming. Now, if you are presuming something, or if you presume a lot, then you are being presumptuous, which is our next word. So you could say it's presumptuous to eat someone else's food without asking them first. You are presuming that they will give you permission, but you can't be sure. So the definition of presumptuous is to assume or do something without proper permission or evidence. So presume and presumptuous are related words. Presume is the base word for presumptuous. It's quite a fun one to say, that one. Okay, on to our third pre-word. We have precede. You could say dessert will precede the main course during our fancy dinner. Now that's quite unusual because pre means before and dessert doesn't usually precede the main course in a dinner, but it does in this case. So you may have guessed what precede means already. Have a think. And here's the answer. So precede means to come before something else in time or order. So in the example, dessert came before the main course in the order of the courses. Okay, on to number 4, prequel. Now, this may sound like another word that you've heard of, sequel, and it is the opposite. So we know pre means before, again, just to remind you. Now, a sequel is a book or a film or a play that comes after another one. A prequel, however, comes before. You could say Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a prequel to the Harry Potter films. So what do you think that means? If you are a fan of the Harry Potter films, that might help you to figure out what prequel means. So it means a story or movie that comes before another story that was created earlier. So the Harry Potter books were created, and then after those were written, then J.K. Rowling wrote some stories about what happened before the Harry Potter books. So the books are written afterwards, but they're about a story that comes before the main story. Let me know if you can think of any other films or books where they have released a prequel. There are quite a few. And finally, we have Preposterous. Now this one, the link to before isn't obvious. I'll come back to how it links. You could say, everyone thought it was preposterous when Dr. Dolittle said he could talk to animals. Now what could that mean? They thought it was preposterous when he said he could talk to animals. Now, well done if you guessed. The definition is extremely foolish or ridiculous, and a synonym is absurd. Preposterous means ridiculous. And the reason that this links to before is that pre means before and post means afterwards. So it's a word that comes from putting things in reverse and doing them in the wrong order, because that would be ridiculous as well. Now, if you have enjoyed learning about affixes and roots today, you will love the Wordier Vocabulary Workbook. It introduces over 200 challenging words by exploring their roots, affixes, their synonyms, their antonyms, and much more. It's available on the Wordier website, wordier.online. See you next time.